Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Teddy Atlas III, and I'm joined by live stream extraordinaire and international frequent flyer, my father, Teddy Atlas. How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you? Listen, we have light. We have
You're
light.
back in the light.
We're back. A few of you said it was a little dim. We're trying to improve all the time, trying to add to the show, trying to make our audience and the fans happy. But we we listen a little bit, a little bit, and so we brighten it up a little bit. We have light. May there be light. So that's number one. I'm good. I'm with you. I'm blessed. I have family. I have friends. I'm blessed. And you know, I know you're gonna be packing soon because you're gonna be coming here from Vegas and on a red eye. And then we leave Tuesday morning to Saudi Arabia for that super card. And a super card. It might be the greatest card. We're going to preview it for all of you. It might be the greatest boxing card in history. I would put it up there, if not number one. I'd have to give some thinking to see what would be better. But we'll get more into that. Of course, the headline on that card is the rematch of Bivol Beterbiev. But before we get to that real quick, I hope everyone enjoyed I hope they enjoyed their Super Bowl commercials and food because the game was not that great. But if you're a Philly fan, an Eagles fan, you're happy. You're you were flying high with the Eagles. We didn't get it right, but I will say this. My son said early in the year KC would be in the Super Bowl, and he stayed with his pick that he wasn't going to go against them. So we're always transparent. But who got it right? Sal Palantonio, the great Sal Palantonio, the great sports reporter for ESPN. He was on. If you guys listen to his interview, you know what? You not only got the Eagle pick from him, but you got the MVP pick when he said that the quarterback Hurts would be the MVP. So you have that. So come on, there's always something to be happy about. Please see the silver lining, see the good, see the light, see the light. That's what we're here for, to not bring darkness, but to bring light. And then, as my son touched on, and then I'll give it to him to take us through this day with everything to cover. But I hope you guys enjoyed. We promise made, promise kept. We said we're going to do more content. We're going to do Q&A. We were doing Q&A. We're doing a lot of different stuff. We're even going to put a show up that's going to talk about life and answer your questions about life. We're going to figure that out. But we said we would be doing live streaming. We're doing it. We did it. Okay? We were up Friday night doing the Keyshawn Davis Berinchyk fight. And then yesterday afternoon, because we're doing Sundays now, right? So we'll be up on Monday, of course. That's our new day, a day earlier. For you guys. Everything's for you guys. We did yesterday afternoon from England, the great fans over there, right? With the darts, with the snooker, with the the crumpets, the Guinness. They are the best. They are the best fans. We did the Catterall Barboza fight live streamed again. From there, we were received well by you guys. It's only going to get bigger as you know it's there, as you share it. Please tell people we are live streaming fights now. Whenever it's a fight that we think has any significance, fights that is worthwhile to you guys, we're going to live stream it. And the last thing I'll say before I hand off to the more handsome one over here is that, and with the better smile, and who always sees the light, because I don't see the light sometimes. I know. But maybe if you good people help me, maybe I'll see it a little bit more, right? Yeah. We will next week, coming back from Saudi Arabia, we're getting back late Sunday night. So we will have to go back and film on Monday. That means for that 1 week, we will be up on Tuesday next week to really, and that's a card you don't want to miss because we're going to be recapping what happened again in the super card, the super duper card in Saudi Arabia. So without further delay, I believe I will give the floor to my better half.
Thank you, bud. Yeah, we had a great live stream, like you said, on Friday and on Saturday night. So let's start off recapping with Friday night, the action, starting from Madison Square Garden, the theater. The co-feature to the Keyshawn Davis Denys Berinchyk fight was highly regarded, highly touted prospect number 1, rated at 154 pounds, Xander Xayas, and he stopped Slawa Spomer in the 9th round of the fight. Spomer's first fight in the U.S. I don't think he's going to want to be coming back anytime soon. But credit to him, he showed heart. He did try, but he was just completely outgunned by Zayas. Zayas, I was impressed by the poise, the composure, just the overall performance by the 22-year-old. What do you think of Zayas, and what do you want to see next?
I think I want to. He's still young, but I think he's ready for, like I said about Keyshawn before he fought for this title. I thought he was ready for the top guys, that he had developed over the last year, Keyshawn. And I feel the same about Zayas. He's a complete package. The only thing he don't have TNT in his gloves, but he goes to the body beautifully. He got the stoppage by going to the body. He sits in a pocket beautifully, as good as anybody I've ever seen, maybe, where he'll punch in between your shots, where he's got the eyesight and the nerve of steel, the confidence of steel, the confidence of a champion to sit in the pocket and time you, punch with you. It could be dangerous. But if you're good at it, you can get away with it. And he gets away with it. Look, he got caught a couple of shots. They got to tighten that up. He threw from too far away with an uppercut. He got nailed a right hand. They got to tighten that stuff up where you don't get caught clean in spots and you you put yourself in a position where a good night's work goes down the toilet bowl because you got careless for one shot or one moment of not only lax concentration, but of technique that wasn't tightened up in the gym. So, but having said that, Zayas is what I've been saying about him for the last year. Again, complete package, technically solid, fights inside, fights outside. He puts punches together beautifully. Body and head, I said that already. He's smooth. He's smooth. I'm calling him silky. For me, I'm calling him Silky Zayas because he's smooth as silk. He gets into a rhythm and it's melody. It's good music. It's melody to watch. He is the sweet science. He covers the sweet science really well in all areas. He's not a dynamite puncher, but he'll get your attention because he'll catch you clean, because he'll punch in between you, and he'll go to the body. I thought he did a magnificent job of that. I thought Spomer, as you said, deserves some credit. He traveled all the way over here, first time in the U.S. fighting. He might not want to come back. He might not want to renew his visa for a while, but he wasn't treated real well. But he behaved well. He showed great character. He showed great heart. He got broken down. He got broken down really to the body, head and body, but to the body at the end. And that's another thing. Zayas' recognition of where he needed to go, that he recognized that early, and he put, like I say, putting money into CDs, and then you get interest, and then you get your interest paid later on. And he got his interest paid later on with the body attack, getting to the stoppage of Spomer. Again, a lot of heart by Spomer, but Zayas, I think he's ready. I'll finish it with this, kind of what you opened it with. I think he's ready for anybody. I think that I wouldn't mind having one more fight, but but I think this fight was a good fight for him because it gave him chalkboard stuff. It gave him material where they could go back to the chalkboard, back to the to the gym, as I say, to the classroom, and correct some things. So I love the guy.
Yeah, you've been high on Zayas for quite some time, and that was a really impressive performance. I'm excited to see what's next. He is the #1 ranked for Sebastian Fundora's WBO belt. So maybe that'll be next, but that division is heating up, so we'll definitely be talking about Xander Xayas again. With that being said, we'll move on to the main event that evening on Friday night from the theater in New York City at the Garden. We had Keyshawn Davis versus Denys Berinchyk. Berinchyk entered the fight undefeated as the champion. This fight pitted two former Olympian silver medalists, Berinchyk in 2012 and Davis more recent in 2020. I thought that for this fight, Davis was just too much for him, right? I mean, I thought maybe Berinchynk's experience could slow him down and make things awkward and make it an ugly fight. But Davis was too big, too fast, just too much for him. What would you think of the fight overall and Davis's performance?
Yeah, you hit it on a button, bud. Listen, I've been touting Davis the last year. I thought he got over a hurdle. I thought that there was a metamorphosis going on. I thought there was just a development curve. We were watching like way he was maturing. He was settling down on his punches. He was learning how to control range without using his legs to run all over the pole, move too much. He was moving just enough where he was able to get his cake and eat it too, where he could be set to punch and control range where you couldn't walk in freely on him. At the same time, defensively take care of his responsibility in that area. So, and that comes with maturity. That comes with seasoning. It comes with good coaching. I think, Bomac, I said it during the live stream. I've never seen one of their fighters, him and his crew. I've never seen one of their fighters not prepared. And I don't mean just technically across the board. I mean prepared for a fight plan, fight strategy with who they're fighting. They always have the right strategy. They do a great job. So I wasn't surprised. Matter of fact, don't be surprised now. The ones who watch the live stream, and you guys are calling for this, so or you're backing it up, right? Because we asked you, do you want us to start doing a little gambling thing with the live streaming? The live streaming, especially because I think I have a little ability to pick something out during the live streaming, and we kind of put that on. Not trying to brag, but yet I'm bragging. We picked out during those two fights early on what we projected to happen. Yeah, Davis and Zayas, both favorites, both big favorites. We get it. But early on, I said, Zayas is going to get a stoppage with a guy who's never been stopped. A guy that's never lost, obviously, so he's never been stopped. But he's gonna get a, and sure enough, late in the fight, he got. So you could make a little wager, as long as you bet responsibly. We don't want anyone to not bet responsibly if you have it extra. But so we went that route. We said, yeah, throw something on him that, you could get a stoppage, because obviously it would have been too much to lay just for the win, because that was already preset, that he was the big favorite. And same thing with Davis. With Berinchyk, I don't think too many people expect him to stop him, but very early on, say he's going to get a stoppage over here, basically. So I wasn't surprised. Again, I saw a continuation of the growth of Berinchyk. They've done a good job.
The growth of Davis.
David. They've done a good job of getting him ready for the big moment, where he showed it. He controlled range. He was in there with a guy who could be very awkward, very unorthodox, a guy who uses legs. What did I call him during the fight? I called the guy a jitterbug, and he's a jitterbug, Berinchyk. He can't punch, but he's in and out. He's in and out. He's side to side. He's in and out. And he could keep you off balance. He could steal the rhythm of a fight. And it was up to Davis to stop that from happening. Stabilize him on the outside with the jab, even if he lowered the sights on it to the chest. Stabilize him with the jab, control the jitterbugness, right? If that's such a phrase. It is now. Stop the jitterbugness. All of you, stop the jitterbugness. Stop the jitterbugness. He did that. He settled him down, and then he puts punches together now well, Keyshawn, and he goes to the body well. Him and Zayas gave a clinic of going to the body, to be honest. So what do you do to control jitterbug? Well, you use a jab, as we just said, and you go to the body. You take air out of the tires. I mean, a jitterbug with no tires is not a jitterbug. He's just a bug. Huh? It's just a bug. And then you can squash the bug, right? And that's kind of what he did. He took the air out of the tires of the bug and he squashed the bug. He went to the body. He got him to stand in front more and more. And then what I really loved, and we talked about this early, was his counterpunching. His being obviously Davis, where, yeah, Berinchyk goes in and out, but when he comes in a little reckless. He comes in from a little too far away. And if you're set to punch, which now Davis is, you could catch him on the way in. Matter of fact, I said it was the kind of fight you could catch him coming and going because you could catch him coming, and then when he goes out, you go with him, you catch him going straight out. So Davis employed that tactic where, again, he was prepared with his trainer, really well prepared. When he started coming in, from a little far away, a little reckless, right? He started catching with counters. And then the last thing I'll say, and put a bow on this, bud, because we're looking to go quicker. We're looking to go cleaner, right? And I'm following my orders of the captain over here. And, which I don't do that much, but I'm doing it for you. I don't follow any orders real well, but I'm following yours. And he showed us how to walk in the rain without getting wet. Because at the end it was a beautiful. They had the replay, and we jumped on it. We broke it down. We made the analysis that I said that if he wants to end this fight, he being Davis, which it looked like he was obviously able to be ready to do, he got to make sure that the jitterbug doesn't smother him, doesn't get in too close, where he smothers the offense, where he shuts the faucet off. You want the water to keep running for the offense. So use your legs. Take little steps back appropriately where you can continue having room to punch instead of getting smothered. And that's what he did. He took little steps back as Berinchyk was coming in, and he melded defense and offense beautifully. He made a miss as he was throwing, and he counted. He made a miss as he was throwing, and he counted, and he moved his legs, synchronized everything. Moved his legs and had room to punch. He was walking in the rain without getting wet. The rain was coming. He wasn't getting wet, and he was punching in between. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So at the end of the day, I'll leave with this. I'll put another bow on it for you, bud, because you like bows. I'm gonna say, just like I said about Zayas, that I think he's just about ready for anybody. I think Davis is ready for anybody, maybe even Tank Davis. And as much respect as I have for Tank, everyone knows that. I think he's one of the top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world. Complete package, can do everything and do it with power, do it with dynamite. But I think Davis is ready. I know they're friends, so they talk about probably they're not going to fight, but whatever. But I
No,
think so, right? Oh no, not him.
no, he's good friends with Shakur Stevenson. They will
Oh,
not
I'm
fight
sorry.
each other.
Yeah, Shakur. So Shakur Stevenson, of course, Shakur is tremendous. He's a tremendously difficult style. And we're going to break his fight down later on when we talk about that great card that he's part of in Saudi next week. But yeah, you're right. Hey, look, you're more than a good-looking face. You know what I mean? Yeah. Helping me get back on track. Yeah, he's friends with Shakur, so that's not going to happen. But for the people that think maybe he's not ready for Tank Davis, again, Tank Davis has everything. But I actually, and it's probably the highest compliment I could give, Davis, Keyshawn Davis, we're talking about right now, that he could be ready for him. I'm not saying he win, lose. All I'm saying is he is not out of his league with any of the top guys. That's what I'm saying. He has come that far.
Yeah, you nailed that fight. I hope a couple fans jumped on the live and made a couple bucks. But
It's still up there, right? If they want to see it, it's still up there.
yeah, it's still up there. Both fights, the Zayas and the Davis, as well as the Catterall fight the next day. So anybody who wants to go, you could watch it. But I agree with you. I mean, Keyshawn Davis, like you said, extremely impressive. Now world champion, only his 13th professional fight. Raymond Muratalla, trained by Robert Garcia, is highly rated. Right behind him, it could be Lomachenko. It could be Tank Davis. We will see. But I'm excited to see what is next for Keyshawn Davis.
And like I said, whatever it is, he's ready. You know, he's definitely ready.
Yeah, that's right. So that finished up Friday's action. We'll move on to Saturday. So you like to say across the pond in the UK, Saturday afternoon. In the US, we had Jack Catterall and Arnold Barboza. This was for the vacant WBO interim super lightweight belt. And this fight was a very tactical fight, right? A fight that didn't have a lot of action, but it was very close. Some hard rounds to score. The hometown fighter, Catterall, fighting at home, obviously in the UK, versus Barboza, the visitor, coming in. Catterall, the counterpuncher, more elusive, where Barboza was more coming forward, trying to be the aggressor. Very close fight. In the end, Barboza wins a split decision, wins the title. What'd you think of the fight?
First of all, I want to give credit to the judges. I get on them, you know, especially when they're dealing with a hometown, home country fighter. You could give them home cooking sometimes, and I destroy them. But rightfully so, I might say. Rightfully so. Somebody's got it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to point out when it's wrong. You know, instead of just going along to get along and to be friendly with everybody and, you know, no. Our job here is comes with a responsibility to set things straight as best we can. Right? It doesn't mean we're right, but it means that we are not controlled by any biases. You know, we are just shooting it straight from my experience of 50 years in the business, shooting it straight of what I believe happened. You know, not influenced by anything else. And the judges, they did a good job. A lot of times they don't. Too often they don't, but they did a damn good job. I give them credit for that. At the end of the day, my question going in was identity. I always say one of the most important things for a fighter is to have an identity. Know who you are. You can't be Joe Frazier 1 minute, Muhammad Ali the next. You gotta know how you make your living. You gotta know, you know, when you put the feet on the floor in the canvas, who are you? What are you? And I wasn't sure about Barboza. You know, I seen him be aggressive. Then I saw in his last fight that got him here. You know, his last fight with the former champion, where he had a tremendous performance.
Yeah, there's Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, tremendous performance. But he boxed. He boxed on the outside. He counterpunched. He used his jab. He controlled the geography, as I talk about, on the outside. He owned the outside. And look, he did it smart because Ramirez is the guy who wanted to own the geography inside. So what did he do? He showed he's smart. You know, he boxed on the outside. His people too. You know, he boxed on the outside. Robert Garcia, right? I mean, again, right? He's the trainer, right? Robert Garcia with Barboza. No,
Barboza is trained by his father.
Oh, his father. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
his father did a great job. Garcia's got so many champions. I don't know who the hell he's got anymore because he's unbelievable. He's taken over the business with champions all over the place. But and he won the Ring Magazine Award for Trainer of the Year, and that was tough competition. Andy Lee, what's his name? Charles, the trainer for Duplessis Dubois.
For Daniel Dubois, Don
yeah,
Charles.
Yeah, Don Charles. I mean, there was a lot of competition that all deserved a shot at Trainer of the Year, but Robert Garcia won it and he deserved it. Look, getting back to this, it was about Barboza, what Barboza was going to show up. You know, was he gonna box or was he gonna have to come forward? To me, that was the first question in my analysis and handicapping of the fight. And we went over that before the fight. I think we went over it in a very interesting way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it makes sense because he did struggle the fight before Ramirez versus McCombs, where he got the decision that was very controversial.
Yeah, that was one of the times I wasn't kind to the judges, not kind at all. Matter of fact, they sucked. Okay? Can I put it more clearly? They sucked in that one. But they were good yesterday in England in this one. And Barboza, so my first thing was, which Barboza is going to show up? You know, I was joking when we were doing a live stream, that old show, What's My Line? You know, where you have a panel of people and you try to guess who they are. And then at the end, okay, will the real Arnold Barboza please stand up? And then the guy said, oh, wow, I didn't know it was him. So we got Barboza. We found out what he was going to do. And I was giving my analysis and my assuming, my calculation on which one it would be. And my calculation was the burden would be on him, being that he was fighting Catterall, a pure counterpuncher. A pure counterpuncher. That's how he makes his living. That he was going to have the burden, the pressure, where he would have to come forward. He would have to come forward. But here is the real key. This is the real key. Can he come forward without accommodating the counterpuncher who wants you to come forward, without falling into his traps, without leaving himself available to get counted all night? So what does that mean? That means he would have to come in patiently, controlled, behind the jab, use feints, knock on the front door, see if somebody's there before you barge in. And he did that. Feint, get the guy to change his distance, get Catterall, to make that counter move prematurely. And then instead of falling into a trap, now you know where to find him safely, in a safe way. See, this is boxing 101. This is maybe boxing 105 because it's a little advanced. This is the sweet science. And that's what he did. The sweet science could be shown many ways. It could be shown counterpunching. It could be shown using your legs, controlling outside, setting traps. It could be shown being aggressive, like the great Roberto Duran, being an aggressive puncher, forcing you to punch, make you miss, and make you pay. There's so many ways. But make no mistake about it, people, the sweet science was on display with Barboza, because he figured out the right way. And I gave credit to Bomac and his people for having Keyshawn Davis ready for the right fight plan. Well, let me give credit to the father and the team of Barboza for having him ready. They had the right ID, they had the right idea, the right approach, and they inched their way in. They came in a calculating, controlled, definitive way where they didn't leave themselves open to the strength of Catterall, to counterpunches. They came in first, they feint a little, they come in behind the jab, they brought their feet, they didn't get anxious, they didn't rush in, they didn't do the things that a counterpuncher looks to make you do, to make a living, to get reckless. Their aggression was not reckless. It was smart, it was controlled, it was contained. It was beautiful. It was magnificent. And I'm glad they judges didn't ruin a good night. Yeah, there were a lot of close rounds. There were close rounds. It was a competitive fight. It was a close fight. But Barboza won it. He won it. He earned it. He earned it. So at the end of the day, Catterall tried to do his thing. And then by doing what Barboza did, he showed, again, the cerebralness that he came in a very patient, controlled manner. Customato used to say to me, Teddy, make hay slowly. What the hell does that mean? What is that? Figure it out. I figured it out. That's what Barboza did. He made hay slowly. And he came in a controlled manner. He was controlling the fight. He was being a boss. And what else was he doing? Well, besides not letting Catterall, play his music, his counterpunching music, because he didn't cooperate and give him what he wanted to be a counterpuncher. Hey, you can't be a counterpuncher if there's nothing to counter, right? That's pretty simple. And that's what he did. But then there were spots where Barboza, Bud, took it on the outside. He's got good length, and he's got a good jab. He took it on the outside, and he controlled that. And then what did he do? He made Catterall, who felt like he was fall behind, felt like there was becoming urgency, felt like the fight might be getting a little dicey, a little bit away from him. What did he do? He forced Catterall to do something that he doesn't do, that he's not set up to do, to come forward and get a little anxious, and left him open, left the counterpunch open to counterpunching. Nice mix. Really, really beautiful. beautiful, nice mix there. At the end of the day, interesting fight. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Catterall's boring." Listen, to me, there was a little chess going on. There was enough intrigue. If you're a real fan of the sport, I don't I don't say that I don't mind a Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4. How many Rockies are there, Rich? I mean, 400 of them. Oh, he's counting 8. Okay, there's 8. Thank you, Rich. I knew you would be exact about that. Oh no, 9. Okay, thank you. I knew you correct yourself too. My man Richie here, he's doing a great job. Uh, I don't mind watching a Rocky movie where it's rock'em sock'em. Nobody really does. But I love when it's also the science. And you got to see that. Where people have to be strategic. And Barboza had to be strategic. And he was strategic. So congratulations. Congratulations to him and his team.
Yeah, well done. The judges got it right. Well done to them as well, like you said. And well done by you. People could go back, like we said before, watch the live stream. I think second, third round, you said I would put some money on Barboza right now live at almost a plus 2-1 underdog. So
yeah,
well done.
He was plus 250 going in, and then to be exact, Bud, at the point when I said that, I think it was plus 190, which was still a nice play for you. It was still, it was a nice play for you. Like our friends would say, you were getting a nice little piece of wood there. Not bad.
Yeah, hopefully people did all right. We'll wrap up the boxing action on Saturday as well in the States. Saturday night on DAZN, we had Oscar Duarte. Oscar Duarte fought Miguel Madueno. This was a good fight. This was a fight that Duarte did what he does, right? Physical guy, strong guy, comes forward, bangs to the head and to the body. Great left hooks, especially to the body. And Madueno was tall, long, knew how to fight and try to use his height, could punch, and what an unbelievable chin. Had never been dropped before, had never been stopped. He had a loss versus Keyshawn Davis, and Duarte was able to do what the others have not done in the past. He was able to get the stoppage, came in the 9th round, and puts him right back into the mix and in contention there to be a player again. So that division heating up as well.
Yeah, the opponent was a last-minute replacement. Let's make sure we make note of that.
That's right. For Regis Progress. That's right.
Yeah. Give him credit. Give him credit for the heart, for the soul that he showed, and he did. But at the end, would you agree that it was the kind of fight that only one guy was going to win, that the favorite was going to win? Is that fair?
Fair? You could feel that. I mean, he had his spots, Madueno, but you would want to be Duarte, right?
Like he was the class. I mean, in as far as at the end of the day, usually the class wins out. Not always, but usually.
You could feel his shots, the more effect, that thudding, especially the body. I mean, some vicious body work with the left hooks. So it was a good action fight, though. It was a fun fight to watch, and that was a lot of action for the weekend, right? We just recapped a lot of fights for Friday. We recapped Saturday's boxing action as well. For the UFC fans out there and MMA fans, it was also a fun bout to watch of Jared Cannonier fighting in the UFC. He came from behind and got a win. So a lot of action. And before we move on to the big action,
let me say one thing about Cannonier, can I?
Of course.
Please, thank you. Real quick, is he the new George Foreman of UFC? Is he what George Foreman was for boxing? That the 40 is the new 20 or whatever. I mean, he's like 41, 42 years old. I have none but respect for that guy. He's always in great shape. He's tough mentally. He's tough physically. Obviously, his experience. But man, that guy, he should start doing Geritol commercials, if not cheeseburger commercials, or make a what do you call it? What was that thing? The grill, the George Foreman grill. But again, George Foreman was the hero of the the so-called getting older crew, right? Not that you're old when you're moving towards 50 or in your 40s, but he is really a bit of a poster child for the UFC to just remind you that just because you're getting older don't mean you can't do special things still. and even special things in a very difficult domain, a very difficult realm. So I just wanted to throw that in there, and
Yeah.
I just that's all.
Yeah, 41 years old. I don't know if he'll be able to do what Big George did and get to the top at that age,
No,
but he puts himself right back in the mix, and it was impressive. He overcame. The younger guy was getting him early on, and he dug deep, and his experience showed in the end in his cardio.
no replacement for experience, my
That's
dear
right.
son. No replacement for that. 15 years in the NFL, you know that. No, just no. I'll say this. I'll tap it off with this. And I've said it once before, Rich. I'll say it again. I was a young trainer in the gym, training all these fighters were custom model and for custom model. And I remember I had this fighter who I worked really hard with for a long time to technically be perfect. I was trying to make him perfect and get everything right. And I said, "What do you think, Cuss?" I was feeling proud. I was, "What do you think, Cuss? You think?" And Cuss said, "Yeah, yeah, you're doing a great job, Ted." He goes, "Now he just needs three things." And I'm like, "Oh man, he's blowing my mind here because I just I worked so hard. I missed three things. I left three things out. I mean, Cuss, you're supposed to motivate me. You're not supposed to bring me down." And Cuss looks at me with a smile and he says, "Yeah, those three things he needs: experience, experience, and experience." Yeah, so true. So true.
Yeah, no replacement for that. That was a good recap of all the fights this week's action. Before we move on to the card you mentioned opening up, the mega card in Saudi Arabia, February 22nd, Bivol and Beterbiev. I just want to take a quick pause, give a thank you to today's sponsor, Athletic Greens, the all-in-one daily drink to support better health and peak performance. These guys spent 10 years with top nutritionists and doctors to create this formula. It's made from 75 whole food sourced ingredients, has vitamins, minerals, prebiotics, probiotics, and antioxidants. Uh, whether you're looking to boost your energy levels, support your immune system, or address your gut health, Athletic Greens is the way to go. Simply visit athleticgreens.com/atlas to claim your special offer of 10 free travel packs with your first purchase. All right.
And add one thing to that magnificent advertisement read. I add one thing. If you want to try to do something that we just talked about that's very extra difficult and compete in your 40s, you would be well served, very well served, to take Athletic Greens.
There you have it. Or if you're about to jump on a flight across the world like you are, it wouldn't hurt to take some Athletic Greens.
And you could use some too.
That's right. So I will be with you and talking about Saudi Arabia next week, February 22nd, the big one. Like you said, and I would have to agree, at least on paper, this might be the best boxing card, top to bottom, I have ever seen. Let's get right into it. Let's do some previews. I do not want for the first one for you to spoil a prediction for Beterbiev and Bivol because we do have a fight plan that will be released on Wednesday. But let's give a full breakdown, and then to get the prediction, the viewers will tune in and watch the fight plan. So the first time, obviously, this is the rematch. I thought the right winner got the decision. There's been a lot of people that may not agree with that. What does Bivol have to do differently, if anything, to change the result this time around?
It's not about what he has to do. It's what he has to not do. How's that? How's that to start? Really, a trainer is a teacher. I would hope that I'm a teacher. And that I've told fighters that before. It's not about what we got to do. It's what we got to not do and make sure we don't. He did everything he had to do to win that fight the first time. What he has to not do, and I think the perfect encapsulation of this, Bud, would be, bear with me if I'm wrong with the round, but either way, I'm not wrong with what happened. Around the seventh round, blew past the midway point. Around the seventh round of a fight that he might have been winning. Tough fight. But I thought Beterbiev came on in the championship rounds and won the fight. I thought he won. I mean, no controversy, but a good fight, a tough fight. And I expect the same thing, no less, from both these top guys. in heavyweight. But in the seventh, I believe it was seventh. In the seventh round, there was a moment where he was I don't want to say dominating the round. He was controlling the round. Bivol was controlling the round. He was doing what he had to do. You know, he was counterpunching. He was controlling the outside, keeping Beterbiev from setting up, owning the geography that he wanted, which was in close. He was owning the geography on the outside, Bivol was. And he was using his hands well. He was putting punches together well, sweet music. And then he wasn't hanging around. He got out, he got to the side, he gave angles, and he picked up again. He was like that Gunsmoke TV series where the sheriff says you got to be out of Dodge by noon. Be out of Dodge by noon. Otherwise, you got a problem, Rich. And that's how you got to fight Beterbiev. You got to be out of you got to be out of Dodge by noon. Otherwise, you got a problem. And he was doing that. He was doing it. And then somewhere along, I believe in the seventh, where he was throwing up one of those beautiful combinations, he threw one punch too many. He got greedy. Maybe he got careless. He got whatever you want to call it. You got to be cognizant of that with a guy like this. You got to get out of Dodge by noon. If you're a minute after noon, you get shot. Yeah. And Richie looked at me like, whoa, you get shot. Oh, yeah, great. And so instead of, he threw, I think it was like a 5-punch combination. He should have threw a 4-punch, even a 3. If he would have threw 1 punch less, it's what you got to know what not to do. Don't stay there too long. Don't throw 1 punch too long. Don't get a little greedy. Don't lose track of the watch, the time, noon. You got to get out of Dodge by noon. Otherwise, you got a problem. And in that 7th round, he threw 1 punch too many. Just in the middle of the delivery of maybe the 5th punch, he got caught because Beterbiev was more than just a seek-and-destroy guy. He didn't get to where he got to be just a seek-and-destroy, bomb-carrying guy. No, he's smart. He's cerebral. He knows how to box too. And what he knows the sweet science. It's just that it's in such an aggressive fashion, he doesn't get credit. Bivol gets credit because of the way he does it. It's so easy to see. It's so elementary to see. And obvious to see. But Beterbiev don't get credit for what he does. And what did he do? He got in the pocket and he punched with Bivol as Bivol was throwing that 1 too many punch, and he hurt him. And you know what? He stole the whole round. He took everything that he had done in that round, all the momentum, all the rhythm, all the control, and he basically flushed it down the toilet. By catching him with that shot and wound up winning that round, it went in a column of Beterbiev, and it changed the direction of the fight because it didn't allow Bivol to get that momentum or keep that momentum that he was garnering, that he was gaining. So that's the key. For me, same stuff. Know what not to do. Same thing. And to be really cognizant late in the fight, the championship, don't lose the championship rounds. Make sure that the championship rounds, that you don't lose them by staying there a little too long, allow Beterbiev to get to your body and force you to do what you don't want to do. Stay in front because your legs ain't going to listen to you no more because he caught you in the body. You know what I mean? Kind of like, right? I mean, kind of like the great late comedian Richard Pryor. He was good. He was funny. I liked him anyway. And he was talking about being in a fight or whatever, and he said, what did I say to myself? Legs, don't fail me now. and that's really what it came down to. His legs failed him because he got caught in the body. He couldn't get out of there, and he started laying in front too much. So great heart, but Bivol started laying in front down the championship rounds, and Beterbiev took control. So and that's it. And what does Beterbiev have to do? He's got to do, you know what? He's got to maybe do. He's not the fastest starter. He might have to get the motor running a little earlier and keep it running. His thing is, when he gets the motor running, he's running you over. He just, it takes him a while to get up to 50, 60, 70, but then he's going. He's on the highway and he's on he's on the motorcade. You know what I mean? He's on that what's the name of that highway in Europe where you can go any
The
amount of speed?
Autobahn.
He's on the Autobahn. And he's going, and it's hard to. He's a juggernaut. It's hard to slow him down. He finishes strong. He's got to start a little faster. Maybe not allow Bivol to put those rounds that he put in the bank early. He's got to do that. And how does he do that? I think he does it with the jab to the chest, could stabilize in Bivol a little bit because Bivol will look to dominate with the jab on the outside. Don't let him dominate with the jab. And use feints. Because when you're fighting a counterpuncher, I love to use the art of feinting. Now, people don't know the art. There's not enough teachers, trainers out there to teach it. And there should be. But that's an art. To feint the guy, feint the counterpuncher, let him counter a little premature, and then all of a sudden you counter him. So that's it. How's that, bud? That's quick. That's good. That's solid.
Yeah, perfect. I do want to ask you and just touch on that follow-up. You talked about the slower start in the first fight for Beterbiev, and I agree with you. Not what I was accustomed to watching of him in the past. Do you think he was affected by the knee injury going in, and then maybe he will be able to start faster this time? I didn't see him in the clinch. I didn't see the same Beterbiev of the roughhousing, and credit to Bivol for not allowing some of that. But do you think the knee affected him going into that last one? And again, he's a little older now, right? So at 41, is that still maybe in his head to preserve the gas tank?
Two great points. Again, you're more than a pretty face, Two really solid points. Yes, and yes. I think he's got more time to have fully rehabbed the knee. He went in there quick after knee surgery. He didn't have a lot of time to really get it to 100%, but he's such a fighter. He's such an animal in a good way. That he's a beast. That he didn't let that be an excuse or stop him. But yeah, I think the knee, more time now for the knee to be better can only bode well for him. No doubt about it. And yeah, there's one undefeated fighter out there that's always going to be undefeated for all the time. Does he knock on the door? You don't know. You don't know when that guy knocks on the door. He's a sneaky son of a you-know-what. You just don't know when he's going to show up. So, yeah, that can be. And I'll give you one more X factor intangible. I think Bivol's going to improve from this fight. Yeah, I do. Because I think that when you face the boogeyman, and make no doubt about it, this guy was the boogeyman. As tough as Bivol is mentally, and he is. And that's why I had thought he was going to win the first one, because not just because of his skill set, he's mentally tough enough to deal with a guy like Beterbiev, who we know is mentally tough. And guys like Bivol, who fight the way they do, don't get credit sometimes for being mentally tough. He's mentally tough. So, you still, when you're fighting the boogeyman for the first time, there were still unanswered questions. When a boogeyman knocks at the door, can I handle that knock? Can I handle that knock when I look through the peephole and I see who the hell it is? It's the boogeyman. And the answer was yes. And he didn't know that answer. As much as he's confident, he's a real pro, really, deep down inside, he won't admit it, but he didn't know that answer. And now he knows that answer. And that's going to help Bivol. That can help him a lot. That can help him possibly win a fight that was really a tough, close fight. So, again, to what my son said, we are not giving it away. Watch the fight plan. We put a lot of time into it. I think we did a good job with it. Watch the fight plan. It'll be up Wednesday. Watch for the fight plan. And we will break the fight down completely, and I will give you what I'm not giving you right now. I will give you the prediction.
That's right. That'll premiere on Wednesday on the YouTube channel for the fight plan, so make sure to tune into that. And I can't wait to be there live. Lucky and blessed to be there, and look forward to watching this and see for the rematch who will be undisputed. And well, maybe we get a trilogy after this one. So we'll find out. Moving on that card, which we said this stacked, loaded card, the co-feature, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. For Dubois has the IBF belt now, heavyweight title. Both guys trending in the right direction, right? Both coming off impressive wins. Dubois, we were there in Saudi, beat Hergovich, and then he beat Joshua. We were there as well for that. And for Parker, he beat Wilder and Zhang in his last two. So both trending up at the right time. Huge fight. The winner could be potentially fighting Usyk next for undisputed. What do you make of this matchup?
I think the whole card, again, dynamite. A very interesting, intriguing matchup. Dubois, big and strong. You know, he's thick-boned. He could pat you on the back to say, "Have a good day, mate," and it hurts. You know, I mean, he's that kind of puncher. He's got that kind of power, like a George Foreman, blunt power, not crisp but blunt, both. And and Parker can catch you too, and he boxes. Parker, is a good boxer. Most people think he's got the edge in the body. He's very experienced, but he's got more miles on the odometer. That's we got to call it straight. I love Parker. I love both of them. I know both of them, but he's got more miles on the odometer.
Yeah, 33 years old.
Yeah, and he's been in a lot of tough fights.
Yeah.
And Dubois is only 25, if I have that correct. I think
27 years old, Dubois.
27. So he's younger. He's got less miles on the odometer. That can make a difference. And his size and his strength and the power, where you can't make a mistake with Dubois because he could get you right out of there. Dubois has shown a good chin that he could survive if he has to survive some of those shots with Parker. I would say that he's shown that. Although you never know, guy puts them together on you, catches you, times you right, which Parker's capable of. You never know. But at the end of the day, the reason why I'm going to wind up picking Dubois, and I'll tell you why. The mental side. 75% of this, I always say it, I preach it, I know it, it's to my bones. That's the most important part. Dubois is a different man. Dubois is a different guy. Dubois has gone through a metamorphosis. He ain't a moth no more. He's a butterfly. I mean, really. He's a different guy. If he fought Usyk again, that's going to be a different fight too. And you know how much I love Usyk. But that's a dangerous fight, much more dangerous now because of the metamorphosis, because of the change that Dubois has gone through in his last several fights, where he's found himself, where he's mentally a tougher guy now. He's redeemed himself. He believes in himself. That, my friend, when you mix that with power and ability and size, that is a dangerous combination. There it is. I want to keep it short and sweet, and I don't want you yelling at me.
I'm not going to yell at you. I do want to ask you, though, because I agree with that breakdown and everything you said about Dubois and the mental side and the change that we've seen of him. Is he overlooking Parker? Is he too infatuated with this newfound confidence? And could that be an issue going into this fight? Because for me, I love Parker and the work Andy Lee has done as his trainer with him.
Yeah, tremendous.
It feels like he has to be perfect all night. He has to box and move, and he cannot make one mistake. And Dubois doesn't. He just has to be right once. So I wonder, though, going back to what I just asked, is he overlooking and looking towards the rematch of Usyk instead of Parker in front of him?
That's always possible. What are those molecules in the air? There's molecules in the air all over the place. Germs, viruses, good thoughts, bad thoughts. There's stuff in the air, buddy. It's always in the air. That could be an X factor. That could be one of those intangibles. There's no doubt about it. But he's got a good trainer. He's got a good trainer, Don Charles, and I don't think he'll let that be possible. But it's always a possibility. You can overlook a guy. They're talking about Joshua. They're talking about a rematch, or they're talking about Usyk, of course, which would be the biggest. They're talking about but that's your responsibility. That's part of being a pro. That's your responsibility, really. That you don't have you don't have that situation where you overlook anybody. That's part of being a pro. That's part of crossing the T's, dotting the I's. I'm sorry, it is. But yeah, it's possible. But I don't think it will happen. And I think the best shot for Parker is what you just said. You said it better than I can say it, where he's got a box, not engaged, maybe in spots, but not too long. He's got to get out of Dodge by 12 too. You know what I mean? He can't stay too long in front of this guy. He's got a box. He's got to control the outside, and put on a boxing clinic all night long and not make any mistakes.
Beautifully said. All right, moving on that same card, Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield. It's a WBC lightweight title fight. Shakur is the champion. A lot of people, aren't too thrilled. They rather see Shakur in there with somebody else. He is a big favorite heading into this fight. Is this fight too soon for Schofield? And what do you expect in this matchup?
I wouldn't have minded seeing him with a few guys, but hey, it's all right. Undefeated kid, talented kid in Schofield, but I wouldn't mind seeing him with what's the name of the kid I'm thinking about, undefeated, who puts nothing but pressure on. He's De La Hoya's fighter.
Zepeda.
Oh yeah, Zepeda. I mean that guy.
Zepeda had a tough fight with Tevin Farmer. He's gonna. It sounds like have the rematch with that first, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, for style-wise, I like that. But look, here's the thing. I don't know if Schofield's ready. I just don't know if he's ready. I mean, Stevenson is a top guy, and silver medalist from the Olympics. He's got from the Olympics. He's got the pedigree in the amateur. He's got all the experience. He's got the confidence. He's got the style. Hey, the greatest strength, Teddy. What's the greatest strength of Stevenson? Well, you could go with hand speed. You could go with defensive ability, control and range. Judgment of range, or instincts, eyes. So many things, a myriad of things. But you know what it is? His style. He's got a hell of a difficult style. He's like if you were a safe cracker and somebody said, okay, I got a safe for you to crack. Yeah, all right. Yeah, but this one, this one ain't the normal safe. This is one that really you got to be an elite safe cracker to really come up with the combination for this safe. That's what you got to be. You got to be an elite safe cracker to come up with the proper combination to defeat Shakur Stevenson. His style is a son of a gun. And it is not fun. You come in 3 inches, he goes back 6, and he counters. And it's not fun. But the thing with Schofield, I just think he could use more time before this moment, especially with this level of fighter. I just think the good news is Shakur's not a huge puncher, so if he makes mistakes early, maybe he grows in a fight. He doesn't necessarily get taken out of the fight, even though Shakur could take you out if he catches you clean and counters you, which he's capable of doing. But, he doesn't have that TNT. He's got everything else. So, for me, 2 things, bud. Schofield, again, I think he could use more seasoning, a little more time before this fight. And the thing that concerns me is the ID. I talked about Barboza. Which one was going to show up? Was it going to be aggressive? Was it going to be a boxer? You got to know who you are. I don't know who Schofield is. I've seen him be nothing but aggressive for most of his early fights, and where he was getting involved in headbutts. Something had to be corrected. And credit to his father. Something had to be corrected. He was butting heads. He was getting cut up. He was a little reckless with the aggression. And something had to be fixed. And they fixed it, or they think they fixed it. They changed his style. All of a sudden, the last fight, he's boxing. And I know it had something to do with his opponent, who was an aggressive opponent. It was smart. But all of a sudden, he's boxing. He's champing. He's standing on the outside. He went from the seek and destroy missile kind of guy, maybe a little bit of a bull in a china shop, because, bulls butt horns. And he was butting heads. So, but then all of a sudden, he's on the outside using his legs, boxing. I don't know who he is. And I'll tell you one thing. He better find out before he gets in there with an elite guy like Shakur Stevenson. You better know who you are. Are you the aggressive guy? Or you're the boxer? Or are you a little bit of both? And he might need a little bit of both to beat this elite fighter. How's that, bud?
Perfect. That was a great breakdown. We'll keep it moving. There's so many great fights on this card.
I think Stevenson's going to win, by the way. I think you probably might have figured it out. You guys are sharp. You guys are
Yeah,
so sharp.
we got that one. Let's go to the next one, right? Middleweight WBC title fight. We got Carlos Adames versus Hamzah Sheeraz. Adames, the champion. I think he's listed about 5'10", 5'11", physical, aggressive guy fighting the tall, long, wiry 6'3" Sheeraz in his first attempt for a world title. What do you think of this fight?
Very interesting, intriguing. Really a fight that is going to come down to some strategy, different styles. It's a terrific fight. Listen, full disclosure, you and I are very friendly with Sheeraz, his family, his people, his manager. Well, with our trips to Saudi Arabia, we really like the guy. I like him not just for his talent and his promise and his future promise with that talent. I like him for the person he is. He's a gentleman.
All-class, pure gentleman.
Yeah, I love him for that, to be honest. So I don't know Adames, so I'm not making any, knocking him or saying he's better than. I'm not saying that. Adames might be the greatest gentleman in the world. I just am not privileged to knowing what I know with him that I know with Sheeraz. Having said that, my first thought is this a fight or too early for Sheeraz? That's my first thought. Is he ready? Is he mentally, physically ready? What I mean is he mature enough? Well, I've been on this theme for this podcast with guys, and it's shown out that it's important. Is he ready for this step up, or could he have used one or two more fights? Either way, the most important thing is he thinks he's ready. His people think he's ready. For him to win, he's got to control the outside. He's got to know his identity. He's tall, he's long. He's different than Fundora. Fundora is so tall, so long, but he didn't know how to fight on the outside. He didn't know how to fight tall. Sheeraz knows how to fight tall. You got to fight tall to win this fight. And don't be available by fighting tall. Don't, when the guy gets in close, if he does get in close, don't be that statue where you're that skyscraper I talk about, where there's a lot of windows to be broke. No. Then you become small. Then you get your head on the side for defensive purposes. But other than that, you fight tall. You control the range. You control the outside. You are the outside man. That's what you are. And you make him pay a price. You do what I talk about. You make him go through a bad neighborhood, he being Adames, and you mug him on his way in. You catch him with uppercuts, you catch him, with counters, hooks, right hands, whatever. And you use your jab to control that distance. And your legs, taking little steps out at the right time, always being set. You got to be a little ahead of him. If you go out too late, he'll go with you, you're going to have a problem. You got to fight that kind of definitive fight and have that kind of fight plan that's the right fight plan. Strategy is very important. Execution, always important. At the end of the day, it's a good fight. It's a tough fight for both guys. And it's a tough fight for Sheeraz to have. He's not getting a gimme for his first title. Sometimes you get a gimme for your first title shot. You do. It's just the way it works. He ain't getting no gimme. It's a tough fight. At the end of the day, I'll go with my man, Sheeraz.
I'm with you. Very intriguing. Adames brings it. Sheeraz doesn't waste anything. Sharpshooter. I can't wait to watch that fight.
Adames strong physically. He'll go to the body if he gets into geography to do it. He'll press the issue, but he'll do it smart. He can be a puncher boxer. He can be a pressure boxer. He's not going to be a bull in a china shop. He's not going to come in reckless, but he will look to push the envelope.
Yeah, the next fight, we keep saying how great of a card it is and how many great fights. This might be, besides the main event, my personal favorite that I'm looking forward to the most. And that's Vergil Ortiz versus Israil Madrimov. What do you think of this one?
I think it's the kind of fight where I'd favor Ortiz to get. I think it's going to go rounds, even though Ortiz is known for his power and his body punching. But I think that I can't see Madrimov outpointing him. I think Ortiz is a little more athletic. He's a great body puncher. He's a pressure fighter. I think his last fight, where he was forced to go the distance for the first time in his career, was very important for getting ready for this.
Yeah,
Because
versus
Matrimov,
Bohocek.
Matrimov is no joke. Yeah, he's only got 11 fights, whatever it is, but he had 300 amateur fights, top competition. He's got that pedigree. He fought one of the greatest fighters in the business, if he's not the greatest, Crawford, up in the top three of the best fighters pound for pound, and he made it competitive. And he is a smart fighter. He's awkward, but he's awkwardly clever. And he throws you off with his herky-jerky upper body motion. He throws your timing off, and he can mesmerize you with that. And he's solid. He's solid. He's not the busiest guy in the world, but he don't make many mistakes. He doesn't waste much. He places punches well. He knows how to go to the body. He knows what the hell he's doing. He knows his craft. Again, the more athletic, the more explosive guy, Ortiz. The busier guy, Ortiz. At the end of the day, I think Matrimov is going to look to time Ortiz with a shot. He's not a dynamite puncher, but he's good enough. If he could time maybe a straight punch inside a left hook, Ortiz loves the left hook to the body and head. If he could time him with a straight shot, he could get his attention. He's going to look, he's the kind of talent, Matrimov, and mentality that can go that route. I think that would be his route. At the end of the day, if that doesn't get significant results, he loses a decision. I think he's going to go the distance, but he loses, and he better not leave his body available to Ortiz, because his body. Ortiz is like, he's like Mike McCollum was known as the body snatcher, right? He could be the body snatcher too. Mike McCollum was, the terrific middleweight champ from years ago. I think middleweight or junior middleweight. Ortiz is body snatcher number 2. So at the end of the day, I see Ortiz outworking him. I think Ortiz is more than just an aggressive guy that is a dynamite puncher and a dynamite body puncher. I think that he can box. He's also got Robert Garcia, training him.
That's right.
Another Robert Garcia. My God, Robert, come on. Leave something for other people. Please. He can box too. And I think you're going to see some of that. I take Ortiz.
Yeah,
Decision.
you painted a great picture there. I think it's hard for me to imagine Madrimov being able to win on the scorecards too. I just don't see the volume being enough to match up with what Ortiz will be putting out there. So 2 guys we both met, 2 guys that have also been class acts and fun to be around. I can't wait to watch that one. The next one, back to the heavyweights. Zeli Zhang versus Edith KBL. Now, KBL is a guy that you've been high on for quite some time as a
nobody
prospect.
knew him. No, I was touting him when nobody knew him. I'm just saying,
That's right.
That's all.
And it's been a couple years now. You also were touting him and backed him when he pulled off the upset as the underdog versus Sanchez in Saudi Arabia. He's getting a big opportunity here. He's climbed up the rankings, and he's fighting the 41-year-old Zhang. What do you make of this heavyweight matchup?
Zhang, again, you don't know when Father Time shows up and knocks on his door. And if he does knock on his door, he's got to knock. He's going to have to get a step ladder to knock on the door, because Zhang he's a tall door, Rich. He's a tall door. So if Father Time knocks on Zhang's door, he have to do it from a step ladder. Zhang has power. I mean, if you call a guy Bang Bang Zhang, I guess he's got power, right?
Big Bang Zhang.
Big Bang Zhang. That sounds good. And I love the people who manage him. The children, the sons of the late great, probably the greatest ref of all time. I mean, Artur McCanty was great too, but Mills Lane, and maybe one of the greatest human beings of
My
all
favorite.
time.
All time growing up.
Yeah. How could you not be? I mean, one of the great human beings, besides great ref of all time, former Marine, former district attorney, just a good human being, Mills Lane, just tremendous. And his son seemed to be cut from the same cloth. So they have him. We know the people, the manager that has Capiel. He came over here, matter from Germany, and brought a fighter for me to look at, asked me to train him. A good kid, a good fighter, but I just wasn't able to say yes to training him. But uh, he's also does a good job as a manager. It's an interesting fight. But the thing for me with Capiel, who's obviously younger and not as known and hasn't been on this stage, can he handle this stage? I think he can because of his background, the part of the world he comes from. I think he can handle the stage for the spotlight here. We know Zhang can. I think that Capiel is a book unread. Zhang is a book that's well read. We've read it. We've seen it. We know what's in the chapters. There's no surprises. Capiel's still a book that we haven't, we haven't been through all the pages in the book. So now we don't know about him. I think I know him pretty good. And just from my knowledge of what this boxing business is about, watching him, he's one of those guys that more to him than the cover of the book. I always say that old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. He don't look like much when you see him. Like he doesn't get you crazy. But when he gets in the ring with you, his defense is good enough. He can counterpunch. He go get you. He'll get in the trenches with you and go to the body. And he'll sap you. And he's tough. And he's mentally tough. He'll sap you. And he's smart enough to do it without getting zapped. Or bang bang by Zhang, the bang. So I think that he'll do a little of both. He'll box, he'll control the outside, he'll try to get Zhang to walk into counters. He'll try to give Zhang to give up his height, his size. And then at the end of the day, when he has to go inside with the bigger guy, the behemoth of a man, where most people would say, don't go there. He'll go there. He'll go there because he's confident. He's confident with his skills and with his mind, with his mental approach, that he believes he could do it and he will do it. And I think that he's more dimensional than Zhang. And because of that, I'm sure Zhang will probably be the favorite because he is the book that's better read and he has been in there with the better opposition. But I'm going with Capiel to really this time step out on that stage and introduce himself to the world, which he started to do. But now I think this will be his real coming out party.
Well said. Great breakdown. I look forward to that intriguing heavyweight match, and the winner is going to be right there in position with all the other big dogs. So we'll see who comes out of that one next Saturday. All right. The final fight, this is the 7th fight for the February 22nd card we're previewing. An all-UK clash for your friends across the pond. Joshua Buatsi, Callum Smith. What do you think of this one?
First of all, Buatsi, he hasn't learned how to lose. You got to factor that in. Especially down the stretch. You got to factor that in. Guy ain't giving up that 0 so easy. Smith's lost 2 fights, but to great fighters, to 2 of the top fighters, Canelo and Beterbiev, nothing to be ashamed of. And he got stopped by Beterbiev, but who hasn't except for Bivol? So if Smith can fight a disciplined fight, both guys are gutsy, both guys are fighters, both guys are the kind of guys you like to watch. Both guys are not against engaging you. They're not. But they also both have the experience, the know-how, the ability to do proper things on the outside or in mid-range, if you will. And I think that it won't be just only, it's got the possibility to be rock'em sock'em, but I think it will be also the strategy where, for me, if Smith can be disciplined with his jab, he's got a pretty good jab and pretty good range on it. If he could be disciplined on the outside with his jab, I think that will bode well for him. And Buatsi again. Buatsi, he's a guy that's, I think it's fair to say with him too that you can't judge a book by his cover. He's more than just a physically, guy who looks good physically and who's strong, who's, got those dimensions to him. But he's also a guy that, he knows how to not get outboxed so easily. Whether it's cutting the ring down, using his own jab, going to the body, taking air out of the tires when he has to. He's a steady guy. He's a steady, consistent guy. I think the jab's going to be important. I think it is. I think because both guys, I just said it, they can engage you on the inside. They can do that inside fight. But who can have the edge outside? That might really be the differentiation of rounds. In some tight rounds, and I think there will be tight rounds. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, Bud, I could make an argument for both guys. That's why it's a good fight. I could make an argument for Smith to win. I could make an argument for Boazzi to win. I'm going to go with the guy who has not learned how to lose yet. Boazzi. Decision.
Yeah, as I listen to you and I envision the fight going, I think of Boazzi versus Hutchinson, where he does his best work coming forward and getting inside and grinding you out, digging the body. And I think you just explained that perfectly. And let's see if he could get that geography and get inside and do that versus Callum Smith. So
that's why I think the jab for Callum Smith is really important.
Makes sense. Well, that was a thorough breakdown preview for all 7 fights.
I think it was. I agree with you. I think it was too.
It was a lot. I hope the fans enjoyed. I know
agree.
We can't wait for this card. I'm sure the viewers feel the same way. Again, a reminder, on Wednesday this week coming up, we will premiere the fight plan for Beterbiev and Bivol 2. And then next week, as we touched on earlier in the episode, the podcast will not air on Monday. It will air on Tuesday because of the trip to Saudi Arabia for the fights. Any final words before we sign off here, bud?
Go back, watch the live streaming. Because I think maybe you get a kick out of it. You enjoy, I hope. And because we did do it for you guys, We didn't do it just because we had extra video, tape or camera space or whatever. We did do it for you guys. But all kidding aside, everybody out there, be safe, care about each other, show the people around you how much you love them. Can I ask for something really? I know it's probably improper of me, Bud, and a little bit on the unprofessional side. And I hope that the fans will at this point in my career will bear with me and allow me this indulgence. But can you just let my grandson, the 4th, just pop in on your lap for 1 second if he happens to be there? There he is. Of course,
this is Teddy Atlas the 4th, enjoying his nice ice cream. Say hi to everybody.
Say hi, bud. That's Teddy the 4th. You are on TV, buddy boy. Many people are watching you. And you know what? And unless you put that popsicle down for a minute, they're not going to know what you look like. There it is. And I want them to see that great smile and that handsome face. And that's it. That's it. Yeah. Oh, now you can hear me. I just wanted the people to see that great face and not only the creamsicle. I wanted them to see you. So
that's right.
You got anything to say, bud?
You want to say anything? Says bye. Well, we'll end with it there, bud. And just want to thank everybody for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
God bless everyone.
Say bye.
Bye.